Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mark Anderson for Keller Community College, and we're going to be looking today at ways we can write the equation of a circle in standard form from this kind of complicated setup right here. This is also going to incorporate a little bit of completing the square, that kind of principle, and I've made videos before on completing the square, and I've also made a video before this one called the circle and the distance formula, which I recommend you checking out before we actually get started on this. So I will do a little bit of explaining about completing the square, but not to the level of detail that some of my previous videos have clarified here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start off by taking this equation, and I'm going to group the terms that have the same variable in alphabetical order. So I will start off by writing x squared minus 10x, and I can do that because of the commutative property that allows me to reorder terms as long as I preserve their positive or negative nature on the same side of the equal sign. But I'm also going to leave a blank because I'm going to end up completing the square because the equation of a circle is written in this form: x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equal r squared. So what I'm going to do is try to get this binomial of x's to be a trinomial of a perfect square so I can make it match this. And you'll see that as I continue. But first, let's go back to this original setup. Again, I'm taking these 5 terms over here, and I'm putting the x squared and the x term first. Then I'm going to put the y squared and the 2y term next and leave a spot like so. And then move the 22 to the other side using subtraction. So I've got negative 22 over here. I'm going to have 2 extra blanks. Now the reason why I leave these 2 extra blanks is because I'm going to be completing the square for this first trinomial, and I'll be completing the square for the second trinomial. Now to complete the square, what we would do is we would look at the trinomial and look at the middle term. That middle term is negative 10. Well, if we take the middle term, which we will call the letter b, b meaning the middle term of 3 letters, a, b, and c, divide it by 2, and then square in that order, I will then get this magic number to put here on this blank that would complete the square. Negative 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 5 squared is 25. I'm going to take that 25 and also add it to the right-hand side because the law of algebra says that anything you do one side of the equation, you got to do to the other, which many of us call balancing the equation. I am going to apply this b divided by 2 quantity squared to this as well over here. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. Now I'm going to add that to this side over here like that. I am then going to complete the square by looking at this first trinomial and saying, hey, what 2 numbers multiply to make 25 and add to make negative 10? Well, that would be plus 5 and plus 5. But we can shorthand and write this multiplication of these 2 binomials as one binomial as x plus 5 quantity squared. Now I'm looking at this set of this trinomial, and I ask what 2 numbers multiply to make 1 and add to make 2. Well, that would be y plus 1 and y plus 1. If I FOILed that, it would make y squared plus 2y plus 1, but I can then rewrite that as y plus 1 quantity squared. Oh shoot, I should note that over here I had made a mistake that this is x squared minus 10x plus 25, so these shouldn't be pluses, these should be minuses. So a little minor mistake there, but that fixed will cause me from not having to redo this whole video. So the negative 22, the positive 25, and the 1 makes a total of 4. So now I have my actual setup of this problem where my center is going to be 5 comma negative 1 because the numbers inside the parentheses are opposite to what the actual center of the circle is, and the radius here is going to be 2. And we say that because the number that's at the end of this equation is going to be the square of the radius, so we would have to take the square root and the positive value of that square root to be the radius of the problem. Now, the instructions here does say to sketch the problem, but we are going to leave the sketching for the previous video, which is called the circle in the distance equation, or the circle in the distance formula. So this right here ends the problem by having us go through some simple steps. The first step is to reorder the terms and group them by letters in alphabetical order. So x squared minus 6x, and then we leave a space to complete the square. Then we'll go plus y squared plus 8y plus a space to complete the square. Then we subtract the 16 on both sides and we get negative 16. So now we have to complete the square here and here. So we use our b divided by 2 quantity squared and solve that for this completed square. So negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Quantity squared is 9. If we add 9 to this side, we have to add 9 to this side. Now we're going to go 8 divided by 2, which is 4. Quantity squared is 16. And if we add 16 to this side, we'll add 16 to this side. So now I ask what two numbers multiply to make 9 and add to make negative 6. Well, that would be x minus 3 and x minus 3, which I can shorthand write as x minus 3 quantity squared. Over here, I'm going to look at this trinomial of y's and ask which numbers can multiply to make 16 and add to make 8, and that would be 4 and 4, which I can write shorthand as y plus 4 quantity squared. So here, it looks like I'm building up my circle equation with x minus h and then y minus k is equal to 16 minus negative 16 plus 9 plus 16 gives me an answer of 9. So my center in this problem is going to be 3 comma negative 4, and my radius is going to be 3, because the general formula of the circle will have the opposite values here of our h and k for our center, and the radius is 3, or the square root of that 9. So for our final problem here, again, we're not going to sketch, actually, you know what, maybe I will sketch this final problem here, and it looks like I'm going to have enough room to do so without adjusting the screen after I do this. So we're going to do the problem again by spacing out the x squared plus 6x plus something plus y squared minus 4y plus something. And I'm going to move the 3 to the other side like so. And that's going to give me equal to 3. So using my b divided by 2 quantity squared to find my magic number I need here to complete the square, this number is 9, and this number would then be 9 over here. As if you do something to one side, you have to do it to the other. So that was negative 6 divided by 2 quantity squared, which is 9. Negative 4 divided by 2, which is negative 2 quantity squared, which is 4. So I would add that to this side. So now this trinomial breaks down to two numbers that multiply to make negative 9, or positive 9, and add to make negative 6, which is x minus 3, quantity squared. Two numbers that multiply to make 4 and add to make negative 4 is x minus 2, quantity squared. And I should say it's a y, not an x. Silly me. Then we've got 3 plus 4 plus 9, and 3 plus 4 plus 9 adds up to 16. So my center in this case is going to be the point 3 comma 2, because it's opposite the h and k. So 3 comma 2 is right here. That's over 3 up 2. The radius in this case is 4, because in the general equation, this number here is the r squared, so we would take the square root to find r. So going 4 in each direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. We can now make a circle, and the best we can, freehanding it, with a radius of 4, starting at the point, or the center point, 3 comma 2. And thank you for watching this little review of completing the square, and this little formula for trying to, or this little pattern to find the formula, the general formula for the circle. Thank you for watching.